Helen. Yep, you're now on and rolling. We'll wait for a few people to join.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, whoever is joining us already, for inviting your friends. Again, it's a nice time to get a little break, right, and talk some softball and get to know all of us at Softball University. Coach Miranda did a great job this morning from LA on outfield and was outside. So we here in Washington figured, you know what? It's not bad up here in the Pacific Northwest either. So we're coming to you live outside of our facility here in Tacoma, Washington. It's April Fool's.
Oh.
Yep. And so on my way here, I thought, what better time to share a softball April Fool's joke? I'm guessing some of you on your teams have had some fun with April Fools. So one of my favorite stories took place in college. It was April 1st. It was a non-conference game, so we felt pretty comfortable with playing a joke on our head coach, Hutch, at the time. And one of my players, classmates, was the jokester of the team, as I'm sure you guys might have one of those on your team. And she had gum that tasted like fish and offered Hutch a piece of gum, which she graciously accepted, and went down to third base and literally watched her open the piece of gum and put it in her mouth. Priceless, right? And wasn't too happy, but we did not have to run for that. So that's my April Fool's joke. It's nice thinking back, and I'm sure, like I said, you guys have some of your own stories, because this time of year we should be playing ball, but unfortunately we're not. So this is why these lives are really important to us as they are to you all. Continuing, do we have more people?
Yep, lots of people joined.
Awesome.
Couple thumbs up, couple waves, all the good stuff.
Thumbs up. Kind of going off of yesterday's topic on recruiting, really awesome questions, right? And it's hard to answer some of these questions like they're black and white. You know, it's similar to our game, right? Like different situations require different answers. And the same thing applies to recruiting. I just can't emphasize enough that it's really up to you, like taking responsibility for the recruiting process. And it's a lot more work than it used to be, I'm not gonna lie, but you have access to all the information you need, right? So if you want to study up, which I highly recommend, all the rules, the NCAA rules for Division 1, 2, 3, JC, NAIA, which is not a part of the NCAA, all of them have different rule books, but they're all online. You all have wonderful access, right, to all of those. So if you want to know, can I contact a coach? Because all of those divisions have different rules, right? Look it up, do some homework, do some research. Again, when it comes to institutions and narrowing down, right, what you want. If you have a dream school, awesome, but not everybody does, right? So if academics are important to you, look at the majors, look at the rankings of where they fall, right? If the location was important for me, I didn't want to go to a rural campus. I wanted to be somewhat in more of an urban city setting. That was important to me. I don't know why, but nobody can argue with what you want from your experience the next 4 years. Are there, again, I was kind of going to come today from a coach's perspective, but yesterday it kind of blended itself anyway. I had some great questions about what coaches are looking for, and that depends, right? Every institution I was at, we really kind of narrowed down what we were looking for based on what we were graduating, right? So coaches have to field positions, right? And we're always trying to over-recruit, meaning we want to recruit better than what we have, right? A better pitcher than what we have, a better first baseman than what we have. And always the most important position, right field. That was Coach Annie and I's position.
No questions yet. We got a few comments. We got Go NAIA.
Yeah.
We got I didn't have a dream school and ended up loving the one that made an offer.
Love that.
And from Kaya Gibson, Kellen, tell her I miss her.
Miss you too.
We got a question.
Yay.
During this time, what should I be talking about with coaches I'm in contact with?
Currently, situation that coaches, players, you all, we've never been in, right? So navigating this is tough. There's no set of rules with what to say right now to coaches. I think the biggest thing, even with us, what we're doing is like empathizing, like acknowledging, hey, really sorry your season got cut short. Can anybody experience what that's like? Not at all. But also just touching base and sharing your enthusiasm that you haven't strayed from your interest in that school and you still remain wanting to be a part of that program in the future, and your excitement to get back on the field whenever that is and hope that they can watch you, right? I think that's keeping it simple with the situation right now. That's a good question.
Another question. Should players be flexible about what positions they play going into college?
Yes. One of the what I would tell people coming in is I put the top 9 players on the field, and you might be a better fit in the outfield than you are in the infield for our team, right? So being willing and open and not closed-minded, right? We all have positions that we love, right? But at the end of the day, don't you want to be on the field, right? Wouldn't you let go of a position just to be on the field? So that's, in my experience, that's what most coaches believe in. But good question. Love it.
No questions yet. No other questions, I should say.
No other. I'm trying to think of other topics that involve recruiting. So think of your list, right? Think of what's important to you. Okay? Make that list and start, if you haven't contacted coaches, start with an email. Again, I think it would be nice to acknowledge where they are, obviously coming off of a season that's cut off short, but emailing with that personal touch, right, of sharing something about yourself, sharing your excitement and your strengths of what you can add and what you're looking for from your experience. But now we have the time. Sun is coming out.
Wow, that's the sun.
See, we do have sun in Washington. Question?
Any tips for separating colleges when going on visits?
Separating colleges.
She said that she's heard that when you're in it, it's really easy for all the schools to blend together.
What my parents and I would do after each visit, we would make a pros and cons list. Again, it would be ideal if all of us walked on a campus and felt like this is home. This is what I want my home to be. But I understand that's not the situation for most people. So in order to help kind of rationalize this huge decision, right, where you're going to spend the next 4 years, we would do a pros and cons list. So immediately after that visit, while it's fresh in your mind, make a list of things that you loved about the visit, everything, anything and everything, and make the con side of things that you didn't care for. That will hopefully separate.
Got another question. Favorite recruiting story / visit? Maybe as a coach, and then maybe like one of yours.
Sure. Let me think. Oh. As a player at Michigan, we recruited Stacy Nuveman. Not sure if you remember who that is. She's an Olympic catcher who ended up going to UCLA. But Hutch, this classic Hutch story. These are great. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Hutch had her father, who actually played football at Michigan, and Stacy in the car, and they were going to dinner. And we were all kind of, going to meet them there. And I guess when she was driving to park the van that they rented in the parking garage, it got stuck. It didn't meet the height she didn't clear the height of the parking garage. So they literally got stuck. Here's this top recruit, who ends up being Olympian, right? And they're stuck in the parking garage because Hutch didn't quite think about the height. That's a great story as a player. As a coach, I think it's a bunch of them together. It was so rewarding to get the phone call as a coach. Just so you know, as a coach, when you get that phone call of accepting your offer to be a part of your program, it makes your day, right? Because they're as excited as you are. That's why you recruited them. So every commitment that I got was equally special. I'm not trying to be cheesy, but it's true.
Another good question. How often should I be contacting a coach?
Right now, right? Given what they're trying to navigate with their own players who are still in school, I wouldn't inundate them every week. I would email if you haven't contacted them already and give it a couple weeks, right? And then reach out again and kind of acknowledge, hey, I know you're probably busy right now. Just touching base, excited for the summer, right? Looking ahead, planning on the summer that hopefully, right, we're back on the field. Is there anything that you need from me, right? Just kind of ask them if they need anything in the meantime.
Got a question from Micaiah Carter. What will help me narrow my school interest list if I don't have a dream school?
Making that list of what's important to you. Where do you want to be? What size? What size of school? What location? Do you want to be far away from home? Do you not? If you do want to be far away, how far? The softball program, obviously itself, established program, maybe a rebuilding program, the degree you're interested, the academic degree that you're actually interested in, do they have it, right? Answering those kind of questions will help you narrow down your focus.
How do you find players that will add to your team chemistry?
I think coaches observe. We observe players, not only their skill set, but we observe, again, like yesterday, how they interact with their family, having conversations with them, getting to know them, right? Will let coaches know whether they'll be a good fit and help keep the chemistry of the team together. The great thing about a team, though, takes a lot of different personalities, right? We don't really want to recruit, as coaches, the same type of person or personality. So understanding that you might be different than others on the team, and that's okay.
Is 12 too young to think about recruiting? What can I do now to get ready?
No, I don't think it's too young. I think at 12, for myself, that's really when I made a serious commitment to softball. So don't want to miss out on being 12 and 14. So I think what I suggest for you is to play the best ball you can, be on the most competitive team that you can, work your tail off, get the best instruction that you can. And then, as you go to 14, then you start thinking about it. But right now at 12, I would just enjoy competing, enjoy the game, enjoy your teammates. And again, just try to elevate your game as much you can in any way.
Lots of good questions on here.
Those are great questions.
We got one from Reagan Dale, 1942. Says, when talking to coaches, should we mention what we want to get out of the school, not just sports?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's where academics, right? I want to study nursing. You hear a lot of times coaches or athletic departments won't allow their student athletes to major in nursing. That might be a deal breaker for you. So it's absolutely important that you share with them what you're looking for, right? As much as you hear what they're looking for.
Maybe one more? What do you think? A couple more? How you
Yeah.
feeling? Feeling good?
I mean, the sun's out now, so I'm like,
Could be here all day. Any suggestions on how you can get a coach to know you and observe you when we are not playing right now?
Again, because we've never been in this type of situation. Thinking about it just off the top of my head, I just think touching base with them in general and videoing, right? Again, keeping those videos short, but videoing your strengths, right? And short will show them you're still working and you're still interested, and whether they respond or not, again, because who knows where they are and what their focus is without, a season, but just continuing, every couple weeks, showing them that you're still working, even despite not being able to be on the field, will say a lot.
This is an interesting question. Do recruiting agencies actually help you?
I'm not a huge fan of them. I oftentimes have always said don't pay for professional videos or services. Again, you have access to all the information you need. So in my opinion, I would save that money and put it towards playing on or helping pay towards your dues on a competitive team than paying extra for a recruiting service. That's my personal opinion on that topic.
We got a Justin Ray Cruz says, "You ladies are awesome."
Yeah! Thanks, Justin.
Lefty Lauren is back.
Okay.
What information should we ask of the coaches when we contact them?
Are these coaches that you've had contact with before?
Not sure. It didn't say on here.
Okay.
We'll see if it We'll see if she answers.
Because your dialogue with coaches should differ if it's the first time you're contacting them or if you have a previous relationship with them, right? Obviously, the more frequently you talk to them, the more casual you can be, right? But I challenge you all to put yourself out there and go ahead and don't be afraid to make the call, right? Leave a voicemail. It's something that it's a life skill that you're going to have to do at some point anyway. So if you're at an age where you're seriously looking ahead, call that coach and introduce yourself. Tell them a little about yourself, like where you're from, where you play, what you're doing right now, with school and softball, and just that's kind of where I would start. Okay, awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure as always. Another month, April 1st. Thank you for joining us and continuing to spread the word about Softball 101. We're excited to bring new topics, and if you have any other topics that we haven't covered,